doing good. Thanks again for doing this.
Sure, no, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it's been a little while. I was like, damn, the last time we did this was like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a long time.
Yeah, yeah. And then of course you moved to New York, which made it harder to see you all the time. So,
Yeah, that too.
um, oh, anyway, I'm glad you have the time today, and
Yeah, of course.
I'm interested in hearing about what's going on, and glad we could make this happen.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Hey, I want to, lay a little bit of groundwork. You were in One Way Out for a long time. Even when you were starting out in One Way Out and you were very young and you were playing guitar, you were playing so amazing. Like you played,
Oh, thank you.
I mean, my God, like you had such amazing psychedelic melodies. And you always kind of supported your lead singer who was kind of more of a bluesy guy. Like, and it sounded so good. I just wanted to know like a little bit about how you got into guitar even to begin with. Like, how did you learn?
Well, I started learning like very young. Like I was not even 6 when I started taking lessons. Um, I mean, I started taking lessons, from the first teacher I took lessons from was named Jonah Buchanan. It was in Bethesda. And I think before that, my parents, both big, classic rock people, and they showed that to me and my brother. And I think, uh, at the time it was like YouTube was new and I was watching all these videos of like George Harrison and things like that. So they could just tell that I guess I was into that, and they I guess found the one teacher who would teach a 5-year-old. So but yeah, and I took lessons with Jonah for 10 years after that. So I took lessons basically all through high school, and most of it was really just like, yeah, learning songs, learning like classic rock songs. Like I remember the first like book I had was like this thick Beatles book, and yeah, from there it just kept going. So it was always like learning songs, I think, was kind of what kept me going. It was kind of later on that I was like getting into music theory and scales and stuff once I was like, I like this. But yeah, I was always just wanting to play a song and then trying to do it. That was always kind of what kept me motivated.
That's great. I mean, I'm sure that, having supportive family like that had to make all the difference in the world. Like that
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. What's your favorite guitar to play right now? And has it changed? Like, have you changed like what you're doing? And does it make a difference which band you're in, what guitar you play, or are you loyal?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I mean, the two like main ones I've been playing are the Les Paul, which I've been playing since like, I think I got it when I was in 8th grade. And yeah, that was my main one for, I mean, I guess it still is because I only have one other electric. So I love playing that one. I got that from Paul Shine at Chuck Levin's in Wheaton. So that's always, I don't know, love that guitar. That's kind of, I generally have always played that with One Way Out. And then
Hmm.
a couple years ago, or I guess now 3 years ago, I did some work for my other guitar teacher, Chuck Underwood, who's also a DC guy. And at the end of my time working for him, he was like, all right, well, I can either pay you or I can give you this guitar that he built and played when he was on tour with Patti LaBelle in the 80s. And he played it at like the Apollo, and he played it on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So I was like, that I think is priceless. So that has been my other guitar for the last few years, and generally with the Realm, I've mostly played that. Actually, the last gig I didn't, but I those two I feel like kind of cover it all. So
That's
both
amazing.
of those are kind of, yeah, it definitely always feels pretty special to play that one.
Oh, that's a great story. Good Lord. Um, you mentioned Jake Schaefer and the realm of possibility. You've got this new solo act basically, separate from One Way Out. And I'm wondering if you could tell me a little bit about you've got a solo album coming out, and
Yes,
A Home in the Clouds. And
yes.
how did that come about? How did you decide you wanted to make that album? And then how did you go about making it?
Well, it's sort of been a long time coming at this point because I mean, so One Way Out, I've that's been happening since like for over 10 years, so it's been a long time. And event, like 5 or 6 years ago when Geist and eventually Josh graduated high school, we had this weird like 5 year period where we were all living in different places. So at the time, I started playing some with bands in DC, but at basically I just didn't, we weren't always meeting regularly, and other people's schedules are busy and everything. So I kind of over time was just like I want to have a band where I can always play no matter whose availability and everything. And then I also, when I got to New York, I started playing all the time with a lot of other bands and mainly on drums because there just weren't a lot of drummers in our circle. And so I was like, all right, yeah, I'll play drums. And so it sort of became this thing where I sort of felt like I just wanted to record an album where I was playing everything because I felt like, oh, now I kind of know myself as a drummer maybe better than I did before. And, playing bass more and kind of just felt like, I mean, it had been a goal I had for a while, but I think when I got here, I was sort of finally able to take the time to execute it. And it still took a really long time. I found it was a lot harder to like motivate myself without other people collaborating on the project, but we
Yeah.
got to the end. So yeah, that's sort of the story of the album. And then yeah, with the Realm, it's sort of yeah, just wanted to have a band where it could be a rotating cast of whoever, whatever friends were around to play, and just make it like, okay, we're in the room, like it's going to be the sum of me and who whatever other players are in the room, and it just makes it really fresh every single time, and yeah, definitely makes it exciting where it feels like no show is really the same because it's like you get different people's input in different ways, and I definitely always like to let them do their thing and not be like, oh, you have to play it like me on the record because they're, they're there and they have their own cool style. So
Right.
that's definitely been a cool part of the project.
Right. So you say like a rotating band, but you're gonna go on tour with a band, right? Like it's gonna be the same band every show.
E- well,
Is there a big
we
tour?
have, it's not a huge tour right now around the album. We just have a New York and a DC date, which is where I've been playing with the Realm, and we have a different drummer for both shows, but the same bassist. It'll be Sam Kearns in DC, who I played with in Carter Lou and the Project. Uh, Played with a bunch in DC, and then Joe Kaplan on bass for both shows. A friend from Bethesda has also been in and out of New York a whole bunch, and then Lucy Kuykendall, who I met at a show in Providence, and now we've been playing a ton in New York, and she's going to be playing drums at the New York show. So it's always like, you know, it's always cobbled together, but it kind of makes it fun because now at this point, those three have all played shows um with me in like the last year, and it just like now it's like, oh, like I haven't played with Sam. We did a gig at Songbird like a year ago, and he's like fantastic drummer. And I think when everybody's style is so different, it's just like gets exciting to be like, oh, like nice, I'm gonna get to play with Sam and then I'm gonna play with Lucy, and it's fun to keep bringing people in and out.
Yeah, yeah. BC show, when and where?
May 12th at the Pie Shop with Dead Tooth, who is a fantastic New York band who I played with actually at the Atlantis in DC with the Bobby Lees in uh, in 2023 with One Way Out. So I'm very excited to play with them once
Great,
again.
great. That sounds like an exciting show. Great.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that we get the word out so that everybody knows about it.
Oh,
And
amazing.
and the album, A Home in the Clouds, when does that come out?
The album is later that week, May 16th,
Oh,
and
great.
we're going to do a show. The New York show is going to be here at Nightclub 101, which just opened in like January. I haven't been to this iteration of it, so I'm really looking forward. And that show is also going to be with my friend Nolan Trotter, who's putting out his next album that day. So we're going to do like a double release kind of thing. And also my friend Nat Brennan, who's putting out a single, and Danny Moriarty. So it's going to be a fun time. Looking forward to that.
Great, great. The songs that I've heard from the new album sound wonderful, and
Thank you.
I was reading a little bit about like you were talking to some other outlets, and they were identifying some of your influences on there. And I really quite like that. You know, when you were talking about classic rock earlier, and the outlet I was reading said, "Oh wow, we hear a little bit of Cream in this," and you know, you don't get much bigger, than Cream, I guess, when it comes to great guitar music. So you know, was that sort of thing going through your mind? Like, were those influences going through your mind when you came out there? And I want to add to that, like, you know, I know you yourself have professed a love for Mark Bolan and T Rex, and I love Mark Bolan and T Rex. So like, I want to geek out with you on that for a little bit. You know, can we talk about this mix of influences?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, T-Rex, like the Slider by T-Rex is like my favorite album like ever, ever. I don't know. I just love it. Just great. I don't know. So the sound of it, the songs are all great. Like, I don't know, just the front to back. I love that album. And yeah, I think he was probably one of the bigger influences on this because I think also where this project maybe differs from One Way Out is it's like that, One Way Out, it's like we're all in a room. We're like it feel like we're playing like band music. And it's like in the end, this project didn't really turn out all that different, but I definitely want like there's a lot of songs on like the Slider or Electric Warrior or whatever that are like kind of have an acoustic guitar up front and like electric guitars for texture, and it kind of feels more like maybe the genesis of them was like Mark Bolan just like strumming his acoustic guitar and playing himself, and then eventually they built everything around it. So that was kind of where I wanted to make this project different. Like the songs weren't the second stage would be the playing them in a room with a band, but the first would be like just like okay, I'm gonna write them and then maybe lean a little bit more acoustic and like keep them more concise on the records, and then really let them sprawl on in the live show. So yeah, Mark Bolan was a huge influence. Harry Nilsson was a huge influence. Um, like Ty Segall. Uh, but yeah, I think bands like Cream and other more like loud electric bands, I feel like that comes in maybe more with the live show because I don't know, I think Cream was just one of the first bands that I really heard just let loose and jam, like I'm so glad recording and things like that, where they just
Yeah, yeah,
they it's just about the playing, and I feel like that's also been a big goal of the shows, just like make it about the playing.
yeah. So this sounds like it really it inspired the recording process for this album. Sounds like you sat down more with your guitar, and then you worked with other musicians once you had. Um, can you tell me a little bit about that? Like you wrote the guitar parts. You invited others to come in, or did you write it all and give everybody their parts? Like, you know, did you do it in a home studio? Did you go somewhere? How did
Well,
you do it?
for the recording process, I did basically everything myself. So yeah, I started writing them on the guitar. I would like cut a scratch guitar track in Pro Tools, and then thankfully my school has some really nice studios that I've been able to access. So I've been able to just go in there and cut drums to the guitar part I laid down, and then just kind of build it out from there. And then what I kind of liked about having done everything was then I feel like it made it feel a lot, once I got to the band, it made it a lot easier to just be like, do like whatever you want to do, because like my version of this is already recorded, but like your version of this is yet to happen. So like, play how you want to play. So I've really liked that aspect of it because I think it just, I don't know, having played in a lot of other people's bands, it definitely is nice when people give you the leeway to like actually be you and not to just like reproduce whatever is on their record.
Yeah.
So I think that's made it really fun.
Great. That sounds fun. That does sound fun. You mentioned school, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about New York. When I heard you went to New York, I just assumed, here's a young guy who wants to make it in music, and New York is the place to go to make it in music. But it sounds like maybe you went for college.
Well, a little bit of both. Yeah, I go to school at the Clive Davis Institute at NYU, so that's been It's been great because I've been able to both pursue music out of school and also in school, and sometimes the out of school is in school. If that makes any sense. And like found a whole bunch of great people, like a lot of the friends who helped me, you know, like record some of this with like, just in the studio, and who have been a part of the band and everything, have been friends that I've met here in New York, some of them through school, and also just like got a lot of help from different and advice from different professors. And like I've never mixed a record before, and that was something I definitely wanted to do. And I learned a lot from Ben Green at Ivacoda Recording in DC about recording and mixing and everything. And then I came here, and like in college I got to do a lot of that, which is still like, oh my God, like I can't, it's still like weird that that's my college experience, to just like go in and record things. But yeah, it's been awesome, and definitely super grateful for all the people and resources and everything. So it's been pretty great.
Great. Oh, I was going to ask you what you like most about New York, but it sounds a lot like just being there professionally and getting all this like hands-on experience has been pretty wonderful. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And I'd also say it's just a lot easier to just be playing all the time. And, there's so many more people doing music and so many more venues. That's like a multiplier on the amount of time I've been doing music, which has been pretty awesome. Definitely have loved that.
what do you miss about DC?
I think the people are definitely number one. Like I guess the last time I played there was at Jam and Java last summer, and that was just a really special show to get to come home and see all the people there who who I haven't seen in a little bit. So that's been, I think, the people. And also like musically, or in terms of like the music scene, I guess in DC, I think that it was like a lot more tight knit, where it felt like I kind of knew a lot of the bands regardless of whether they were like in our genre or whatever. And I think there's obviously just a lot more going on here, which has its pluses and drawbacks. But it definitely, there was something cool about the community there. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta feel like, I always say DC at its heart kind of feels like a small town sometimes, even though it's such a big city. And I gotta imagine like living somewhere else, New York. I gotta imagine that just seems like a little bit more like you could get lost in the weeds without trying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think the other thing too is I think I also really miss the venues in DC, like the Pie Shop. I can't wait to go back there, and like DC9 and, Java and all the Union Stage venues. Like I'm sure I'm leaving some off, but like definitely just a lot more warm and a lot more like, oh, I just want to go there to
yeah.
hang out and like have a slice of pie and see a band and everything. So yeah, miss that, but I'm glad that I'm not too far away, because I've definitely been able to go back and play a whole bunch with One Way Out and The Realm whenever.
Right. Great. Good news. And hopefully you'll be back again after your May 12th show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm going to put this up on our blog and help spread the word about your show and the album coming out. And again, I'll plug in some of the singles. Of the three singles that I've heard so far, which one do you think is the best? What are you most excited for people to hear?
Ah, I
I mean, it's
guess,
between your babies, right?
yeah, I don't know. I haven't really, yeah, I guess Nobody Really Cares is maybe my favorite. I don't know. It's hard to say. They're all pretty different. I like how different they got. Um, I think I like to play Nobody Really Cares live more. Like we kind of let that really sprawl, but I don't know. I like them all, and I'm honestly also really excited for some of the songs. Like it's been hard to pick between them for the singles, and so like I'm putting out another one next week, and they're all a little bit different. So I don't know. I'm just excited to have them all out, to be honest.
I hear you. Great. Thanks for your time, man. And
Yeah, thank you.
we've got anything to follow up on, I might send you an email. But otherwise, I'll send you a link when this is live. I'm gonna
Perfect.
put this raw video on Facebook right now, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
But then I'll make a whole blog post and put the video up there and put up a little Q&A too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you so much.
Sure. Great to see you, Jake. See you
Yeah,
soon.
you too. All
All
right,
right.
have a good one.
You too.